It was one of those weeks when the politics of sports grabbed all the headlines rather than sports itself. And Shashank Manohar, he's finally emerged as a frontrunner in this race for the BCCI President seat. Ayaz, what do you have to say about this?
Well, look, I mean, it's been it's been a roller coaster ride where the BCCI politics
So Game of Thrones, as everybody is calling it.
So, I mean, on the face of it, it's a very interesting and intriguing twist that it has taken, this whole drama. Because one thought that with Srinivasan and Sharad Pawar kind of meeting and almost on the verge of announcing that they are collaborating, you suddenly have Shashank Manohar, who's also from the Sharad Pawar group, but completely ranged against Srinivasan, becoming the consensus candidate. Now, does Srinivasan have any wherewithal left to contest it? We don't know. It seems like Sharad Pawar will keep himself out. Shashank Manohar is there. I don't even know if there's going to be a contest. It could just be a unanimous selection.
So, the question that's on everyone's mind, okay, so what has suddenly made Shashank Manohar emerge again?
I mean, look, he's a former president, so he's a senior functionary of the BCCI. I think by and large, what the sentiment or the feeling seems to be is that right now we need stability and credibility to be restored. It's just been too volatile. And you know, there's been a great dent in the image of the BCCI. Now, Sharad Pawar is a politician. Srinivasan obviously has got a lot of, you know, black stains and marks against him. He's not being allowed to even go to the meetings. So, Shashank Manohar seems to be, he may be the Sharad Pawar group, but he's not a politician. He's a lawyer of fine repute, and he's been seen to be a straight-laced man when he was the BCCI president. So, it seems like he's a good guy to get in at this point in time, because the next elections are due in 2017, and then, you know, after that, obviously, the whole drama will begin again.
So he's been backed by both the factions, which is surprising. That you know, at one point you thought Ganguly, his name was being thrown in the.
No, Ganguly was premature to be BCCI president. He's become CAB president, but he's got 2 votes. So, you know, he could be an influencer. Even the other contender, so to speak, though he was never going to stand for the elections, was Srinivasan, somebody from his group. You know, or he, it seemed, was supporting Sharad Pawar to become the president of the BCCI. So that, look, Srinivasan finds himself in a bind because Shashank Manohar and he have fallen out badly. Things could change tomorrow. But if the BCCI does not nominate him for the ICC chairman's post, then Srinivasan is at a loose end.
So yes, but how did we come to this point? Like, you know, we would like to know, I'm sure you have the inside news on this, you know, from them meeting in Nagpur and then, you know,
after Mr. Dalmia died, obviously there's been a flurry of activity. You know, I think ever since he was not too well, you know, people kind of thought that if something happens, what should be done? There are many interests at play. Sharad Pawar wants to be in the thick of it. Srinivasan wants to be in the thick of the BCCI politics, but he can't be. But he still wants to retain his ICC chairmanship. Shashank Manohar is the past president and also from Vidarbha Cricket Association, a very powerful functionary. He has been ranged against Srinivasan, and so all kinds of interests have been at play. Then there is the political dimension to it. There is the BJP, there is the Congress, and then there is NCP, and now even the TMC.
So they're saying Jaitley had a huge hand.
Arun Jaitley has had a huge hand, obviously, and you know, BJP has got 8 or 9 associations that they control. That's quite a lot in number. I don't think that the BJP would like to surrender that control. There was a compromise candidate. They thought Rajiv Shukla might become, but that would mean the Congress gets prominence.
That's true.
You know, so all these considerations. So I think what they've done cleverly is that they've kept the political faces out of it, and they've got a lawyer or a professional as the head now.
Who's had a good reputation.
As an
administrator.
He's been there for a long time in BCCI politics.
He was obviously the president in 2008, back in 2008.
Yes, he was.
So he served a term.
Yes.
But why is it that these same faces keep popping up? Why is there no fresh blood, so to say, in the administration?
I mean, fresh blood doesn't mean that you just come in and get automatically elected as the BCCI president. A fresh blood is Anurag Thakur. He is a young man. He is younger than Ganguly. Saurav Ganguly is a fresh face. Anirudh Chaudhary is a fresh face in terms of age. But it's not that you can suddenly become the supremo. There is a certain process in which the BCCI also works. If that was the case, then there's going to be some issues raised with that also. Then there would be, you know, allegations of ad hocism. Like now, in the Cricket Association of Bengal, some questions are being asked that Jagmohan Dalmia's son has become the joint secretary. While there have been people who've been never risen to that post.
Yeah.
So, there are
So all those allegations are already flying.
or flying. So there are always these, I think what should happen is that Ganguly or Anurag Thakur or Anirudh Chaudhary or any of this younger brigade shouldn't have to wait till they're 65, 70 to run the association as a president or whatever else. Though Anurag Thakur is secretary now, he's a young man,
Yeah.
and Anirudh is a treasurer. So it's not that they're very old.
Yeah. So we'll know the verdict of that soon. Meanwhile, South Africa is in India and they are playing long 72-day tour.
Very long tour.
Very
Yes,
long
it's a full tour.
Yeah. And they start on 2nd October before
Oh, no.
we even know what happens with the
Yes.
BCCI president.
It's called the Gandhi Mandela Trophy.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it
Yes.
now. So they start with the T20 in Dharamshala,
Yes.
and the Indian team is preparing for it. They've had a boot camp. They're playing these practice matches.
Yeah, I think they are all on the way to Dharamshala as we speak,
Yeah.
or they probably reached there. So that's where the first match is. 3 T20 games, 5 ODIs, and then the 4 test
Yeah.
matches. I think it's a clever itinerary. You get past the limited overs matches and then get into the test matches, which is going. I think it's going to be really engaging and
Yeah.
engrossing. South Africa haven't lost overseas since 2006.
Yeah,
It's the best performing team overseas, the #1 ranked team, and yet India at home remained formidable.
So we discussed the Indian team. We had a look at it in the last episode. Let's discuss a little bit about the South African team. Do you think right now they are prepared, or for the Indian conditions? That's the question. That's what comes down to. The Indian subcontinent conditions very different.
They are different, but remember they had an A team coming and playing here. Some of those players are in the squad. AB de Villiers and some of them, maybe about 8-10 of them play the IPL. So they're familiar with the conditions, so to speak. And then you got class acts like Hashim Amla. I mean, wherever he goes, he makes runs. So he's not going to be daunted just by Indian conditions. So I think where they might have a bit of an issue is that they don't have a settled opening pair as yet. And their spin bowlers still remain untested, barring,
So they, Tendulkar has come out and said that there's, the spin bowlers are the ones that we should watch out for.
Imran Tahir.
Yeah.
Because you see, Imran Tahir is not, though he's not played too many test matches, he's 36 years old. He's been around for a long while. He played a lot of cricket in Pakistan before migrating to South Africa and qualifying to play for South Africa. So he's got great depth of experience, and he could be a factor here, because if you prepare turning tracks, it's also going to help their spinners. I think Tendulkar has hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. So Imran Tahir is the one that Indians
From the spinners, but apart from that, there is Dale Steyn, Moni Mokkel, Vernon Philander. It's a formidable side.
And it's going to be a tough series for India.
It's going to be a tough series for India, the test series, and how India emerge from this. If they can win the series, I think it would catapult them to the #2 spot, or at least the #3 spot in the ICC rankings from #5 where they are now. And more than that, I think it will just completely establish Virat Kohli, as a captain.
As the leader for the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's, as we said, the T20 is the first match to look out for.
Yeah, that's
on
great.
2nd
It will be
October.
very exciting. But T20 is always a lottery. You never know what's going to happen.
But it's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. It's
at the
great
end
fun
of
to
the day.
watch.
So
Yes,
that's the Indian cricket team and the Indian politics that's in the cricket, always in the news.
Yes.
But we had a couple of really good performances from Indians.
Yes.
Our favorite pair, Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis, they won their 6th.
What are they called now? What do they call themselves?
They're calling themselves Santina.
Santina.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had a poll on Twitter.
Yeah, they had a poll on Twitter, and then
They finalized
Martina
on-
Hingis tweeted that this is the name that they've chosen. Which
So relatively easy for them compared to their other, the Grand Slams that they won where they faced higher seeds, but 6th title. And then, you had Bindra again taking gold at the Asian Championships.
I think we should focus a lot more on Bindra.
Yeah.
Not today, I'm saying over the next 6-8 months, because he's leading into the Olympics. And he's a gold medal winner. The only individual gold we've ever got in the Olympics has come through Abhinav Bindra. And I think he's kind of steadily reaching his peak. He's a very intense and a very intelligent young man. I think that we should track him and some of the other shooters because they represent a big hope in the Olympics. And then of course there's Pankaj Advani.
Pankaj Advani. That's the one I was coming to. So we've obviously talked about Sania a lot. We've talked about our shooting a lot. Pankaj Advani, he almost under the limelight. He doesn't come in the spotlight so much.
Yeah.
But he's won the 14th world title. And
Yeah.
he won it quite comprehensively.
Very impressively.
Yeah.
Yes, very comprehensive victory. Look, Pankaj Advani
He's
is
30.
He's 30. He's
Yeah.
a very, very bright young man, good thinker, and obviously a terrific billiards player. He's not the first champion from India. We've got a long tradition of, supremacy on the green base, so to speak, from Wilson Jones,
Yeah.
from the early 60s,
Yeah.
Michael Ferreira, Geet Sethi, Om Agarwal, Subhash Agarwal, and so on and so forth. Somebody as young as Pankaj Advani,
And 14th World Championship.
14th World Championship, and you don't know what the hell he's going to do in the next 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's a phenomenal achievement, and I think he should get more recognition than
Then
he's
he
got.
has that. So good week for all the Indians.
Yes, I think.
Who were
Look,
there?
I think overall, if you look
Yeah.
at it, and if you just go back on our conversations
Yeah.
over the last maybe 10, 12 episodes that we've done, Indian sport is featuring more and more regularly, not just because we are doing a show in India,
Yeah.
but also because the Indians are doing well. Whether
Yeah.
it's Leander, whether it's Sania, whether it's Virat Kohli, whether it's Pankaj Advani or
Yeah.
Abhinav Bindra, on the global stage, or Saina Nehwal,
Yeah.
Kashyap, all these guys. So there is a certain impetus, a momentum coming along in Indian sport, which I think is damn good.
Yeah. And speaking of Indian sport, it's football. That's the
You have to
buzz.
tell us
That's
on
the
the third?
buzzword.
It starts on
It
the third?
starts on the third. ISL season 2.
Yes.
8 teams as usual with the away and home format that they'll play.
Yeah.
And we start off with the reigning champions Kolkata playing against Atletico De Kolkata playing against Chennai, which is again a very strong team that reached the semi-finals
Owned
last
by
year.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni,
Yes.
partly.
So, Ayaz, I would like to ask you, do you think, because we've seen one successful season, we can call it it was a good start, and now we're going towards the second season where we had bigger marquee players this time. We've had, World Cup winners, league medalists who've come down to India. Do you think at the end of the day, it's all helping Indian football?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get bigger this year. I think the promoters themselves are very intent on making it big. There remains a little issue to resolve between the I-League and the
that's the
ISL.
point, because you have I-League, which is traditionally our league, to say, the football league, and there you have clubs which are disbanding and dissolving and having financial issues.
Yeah.
But
So,
on the other hand, there's so much money being pumped into the ISL, which is a very short format played, over just 3 months.
I mean, if I have to look into the crystal ball, I would say that at some stage there might be a kind of a merger, but I don't know what. I can't speculate beyond that. When I say merger, I mean there might be a very prolonged season
Yeah.
of football, which will be very good, but involving a lot of marquee names.
Yeah.
How that is going to, I think it depends on the AIFF as well as the ISL, to cohabit and then see how it's a new format, it's a new
Yeah.
tournament. So, overall, if you ask me, I think it's been damn good. Look, it's made football top of the sports pages. Where else would you get it?
Yeah, and that to Indian football.
Indian football.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big boon.
And I think maybe, obviously it gives a lot of exposure to all our young footballers, who get to play with all these
Gives you
great
aspiration
names.
and gives you a
Yeah.
livelihood if you do well. So I mean, these are pluses. Like the IPL, I mean, the IPL is not Ranji Trophy.
Yeah.
But the IPL shows a path. The flip side is that people say, okay, I don't want to do anything more than IPL. But I don't think that the good players restrict themselves therefore only to the IPL. They
IPL.
go on and play
Yeah.
one-day cricket
And also
class
because
cricket.
in football, that ISL is maybe the bottom tier of it. There's so much more that they can achieve.
Yes.
IPL has obviously become the star crown
Yeah.
in the cricket, tournament season that happens.
And the technique is very different from the T20
Yeah.
format to the test.
Yeah.
But in football, that's not the
Yeah,
case.
it's still
So
the same.
It's still the same game. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something that we'll be looking forward to. We'll be
Absolutely.
tracking.
Yes, yes.
And looking at all the young Indian players that are playing with. Do you have one of your own favorites playing? Do you have a favorite ex-footballer who's now in India? Maybe Roberto Carlos or.
Yeah, I mean, Roberto Carlos is obviously
Yeah.
one big name.
Yeah.
And, so. Yeah, but I'm actually looking at. Let's see how the young Indians
Okay.
kind of come, and maybe you can help with some names.
Yeah.
Who are the people you are tracking from India?
So, Sunil Chhetri leads the pack.
Yes.
Yeah. But so I personally think that the Mumbai team, the Mumbai City FC team, looks really good on paper, and they've had Anelka come in, which is great for them, I think, because I think he is the sort of presence that they needed So I think it's again a toss-up between Mumbai and Kolkata. You know,
Okay.
if I had to put my bets, I'm definitely going with them. On paper, they look like the strongest teams. They've done well in the drafts, and we said that last year too about Mumbai,
Yeah.
but they didn't really do that well. So let's see if they can turn it around this time.
I think it will be very competitive this
Yeah.
year. So, look, I think that for any league, it's the second, third, and fourth, maybe fifth seasons which become more crucial than the first.
Yeah.
In the first, everybody's excited, there's a curiosity value, there's a novelty, so it becomes big. How it is sustained by the promoters as well as by the players
Yeah.
and the team owners starts mattering from second, third, fourth, So
Yeah.
these are the years in which it will kind of consolidate. We'll have to see how well.
Yeah, so the first season, because obviously it was the novelty factor, as you
Yeah.
said, it was new and everybody wanted to watch it. This is the season that we'll see how it sustains itself.
Absolutely.
And how it does this year, and we'll keep an eye out for that. And when we're talking about football, Ayaz, we cannot forget Premier League. We
Yes.
cannot forget the big gods of football. Chelsea managed to scrape a point, but Manchester United are on top after a week that saw so many goals, 36
Yeah.
goals over the weekend.
What's happening with Wenger?
With Wenger, he's had a respite. He
Yeah.
won quite convincingly 5-2. Arsenal had a good win. So they are again making their way towards the top four.
Yes.
But we've seen seven game weeks in almost all the leagues across Europe. Do you think the Premier League is the most competitive league right now?
It's certainly the most watched.
Yeah, that's true.
It is competitive.
Yeah.
That's one of the attractions. It's got a galaxy of players from across the world, and there is a certain level of excellence which
Yeah.
you associate with, and therefore all of us want to watch that level of excellence. That is what the attraction is.
Especially
But-
this season, like you had clubs like West Ham do well,
Correct.
Leicester
So,
City do well,
what
Crystal
I
Palace
feel,
do well.
and you're the bigger aficionado for football.
Yeah.
What I feel is that, say till about 3-4 seasons back, you could look at
the top four and
the
be
top
like,
4
yeah.
and 5 and say
Yeah.
nothing will
Yeah.
change here. But that has changed over the last couple of years.
That's true.
And perhaps will change even more this year. So that's of interest.
Yeah. So that's all that we had for this week on the Sportscast. Let's wish India all the best before we kick off the
Absolutely.
series. Yeah. So
yes.
best
But
of
right
luck.
now,
Yeah.
it's Dhoni who's the captain. Huh? Virat
Yeah.
Kohli is
Yeah.
when the test series starts. So let's wish Dhoni all the best.
Yeah, for the T20 series that kicks off on 2nd. We'll be back next week, next Monday. Stay tuned on the Sportscast. Thanks for watching.